For the third inning, and we welcome a great friend to the booth, Raul Ibanez, who got quite a treat today before the game. Go ahead and show the folks back home. You were one of the last to get it. And I had the privilege of I was waiting to talk to you, and Dayton Moore wanted to say something to you before you said goodbye, and it must have meant a lot what he said to you about what you meant to last year's team.
I mean, just being associated and affiliated and getting an opportunity to be around a man, a human being of Dayton Moore's character is just something that's, it makes you just a better person. He's just one of the best human beings I've ever been around, and for him to actually take time out of his busy schedule to present me with this tremendous gift, and he already presented me with the opportunity. It's just something I'll never forget. That means as much to me or more than the ring itself, and as much as this ring means to me.
You were with us at a time when there were a lot of good players, and yet the Royals just weren't winning, just couldn't quite put all the pieces back together, and you were just kind of establishing yourself as a major league player. When you came back to Kansas City, did you, aside from the baseball goals, did you have any personal goals in mind? Did you think that was going to be the end of your career last year? And if so, what did you want to give to the Royals?
100%. I knew that it was the end of my career. I knew that the time was there. And at that point in my career, Ryan, I just wanted to be able to be a part of something that's so much greater than anything you could do or accomplish individually. It's 100% about the team. And it's 100% about giving something back to the city of Kansas City, that hadn't been done in 29 years. And we talked about that, and my wife and I, Terry, we discussed it before I signed with Kansas City. I said, could you imagine being a part of something that hasn't been done in 29 years? It's something historical, and to be a part of that is just such a huge blessing, and I'm honored and I'm humbled that the opportunity presented itself.
Raul, what's it like being out? You were in for a long time. What's the experience like for you?
Well, it's a tremendous experience, and I've been so fortunate, Rex, because I don't have the desire to actually play anymore. And I knew the time was there when I started, especially last year at the beginning of the year. I was getting more joy out of teaching somebody to do it than I was out of doing it myself. And that's when you know that when you get to a point that you haven't. That you've done everything in the game that you're going to do, and just being able to give back to those kids means more to you. Then I knew it was time to go.
Yeah, and for a sport like this, when they tell you when to go home, it's nice to be able to have played until you've had enough, and then you can say, I'm done. What's your future going to be like?
Right now I'm doing a little TV with Fox down in L.A., and I do that a little bit, and I spend a little time doing that. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I get around a great group of guys with Kevin Burkhardt down there, and I get to spend time doing that and being associated with the game and affiliated with the game. And I just spend a lot of time with my family. I coach my son's 13U team, and I have a lot of fun with those little fun knuckleheads, being around those guys. They're a blast to be around, so, they keep me young.
And you have 5 kids now.
I have
right?
5 kids,
so
yes.
They're keeping you busy.
They keep me very busy.
And as popular as you are in Kansas City, it's hard to fathom this for Royals fans, but you are way more popular here. You could live anywhere. You could live in Kansas City. You could live in Miami, where you grew up. You were popular in Philadelphia. They loved you in New York. And yet, at least for now, you selected the Pacific Northwest. Can't blame you for that, obviously.
Beautiful city. I mean, just a beautiful town. When the weather looks like this, which it doesn't always look like this, I promise, but when it does look like this, it's just a beautiful place to be.
Raul, you were a finalist for the Tampa Bay Rays managerial position. Had you accepted that job and they gave it to you, you would have seen your family. You would have been so busy and consumed with the responsibilities of a manager, a tough job. You just weren't quite ready for that, were you?
No doubt, Hud. I mean, once it came down to that opportunity, and it was such a blessing to be and an honor to get into that situation. But once it really came down to it, Terry said, hey, I can go and meet you later on in June. And I had just spent so many years away from my family on the road. It just wasn't the time at that specific time, at that particular time. It doesn't mean that the time won't be there, soon or sometime in the future. But for right now, it just wasn't the time, and I'm having the time of my life. Just getting an opportunity to be around my family and coach my kids and coach my daughter's basketball, which I'm not a good basketball coach at all, but I blow the whistle really loud, and that I'm good at that. So we have fun, and just being able to do that right now is just such a blessing. But I wouldn't rule that out in the future.
I apologize if the inning ends here, because I want to get your perspective on this, and hopefully you can stick around. What are your thoughts on the fact that they interviewed you? I mean, the industry is really changing, where they don't necessarily want a battle-tested former big league coach, minor league manager, that they would come and approach a guy like you.
Well, first and foremost, you're completely humbled and honored that they think that you can do that. I mean, it's like handing the keys of a really, really, really nice car to somebody who's never driven before.
Right.
So, to get that opportunity was extremely meaningful, and it's something that doesn't that I didn't take lightly. I really, I'm really thankful for that opportunity, and I'll always be thankful to the Tampa Bay Rays, first-class organization, for them thinking that highly of me. And you know what? In today's game, Ryan, it's something that is you have to be able to. It's a different game. The guys today, the kids today are different. The methods of the past are not the methods of today. You can't use the same terminology and the same methodology to deal with the players of today. You have to kind of understand them and know how to. You got to get the most out of what you have already. Whatever that person has right there, that's your responsibility. You have to get the most out of them.
Can you stick around?
Yeah, I can stick around.
Visiting with Raul Ibanez. No score to the bottom of the third.